In a world where we have so many options for fragrance oils for our candle business, it can be very overwhelming to choose and narrow down a certain amount of fragrances to actually offer your customers in your candle business. So whether you're somebody who is just getting started, you're going through the testing phase, and you're learning and experimenting with all the fragrance oils, which is probably the most fun part of the entire process of everything. Or if you're already in business and looking to figure out which other scents you should add to your candle line, this episode is for you. Welcome to episode 45 of the Candle Business Podcast. If this is your first time here with me today, hello, my name is Erica, and I run my own small candle business called Memory Box Candle Co. with my husband, Chris. And together we also have an almost 2-year-old little boy, and he definitely keeps us busy outside of this candle business. But on this channel and on this podcast, I really like to share everything that I've learned in my own candle business journey over the last 5 years. And today's episode is really exciting because it's actually our first sponsored podcast episode. So today's episode is sponsored by The Flaming Candle. Now, if you're not familiar with The Flaming Candle, they are a candle supplier, and I've actually been using them for my fragrance oils since I want to say they were one of the first suppliers that I started purchasing from, because I know that a lot of our very OG fragrances are the Flaming Candle. And what I wanted to do before I get into today's episode topic, where I'm going to be sharing with you how to actually figure out which fragrances and how to choose and narrow down your fragrances for your candle business. What I want to do is just share some of my best sellers from the Flaming Candle, because a lot of our best sellers are actually the Flaming Candle fragrances, specifically our top 2 selling fragrances. So number 1, and this is number 1 across the board pretty much in terms of wholesale. So our number 1 selling fragrance is Beachwood by the Flaming Candle. We call it cedar and eucalyptus. And this fragrance is so powerfully strong, and it is a really good blend of a woody, masculine, but beachy fragrance. So the eucalyptus in it really brings out more of that fresh, clean fragrance. So it's like a fresh, clean, woody, kind of masculine scent. And it's very, very powerful. The hot throw is amazing. When you're pouring it, you can smell it everywhere. I mean, it is a very intense, powerful fragrance. And it is our number 1 bestseller in wholesale. And I believe it's, I think, top 2 or top 3. I can't remember. I'd have to go back and look, but it is a really good seller on our retail shop as well. There's something about it. I don't know if it's just a lot of people like eucalyptus, so maybe that's what it is. But whatever it is, whatever the reason is, it is our number 1 seller in wholesale. Another fragrance that has been one of our best sellers since the very beginning is our Saturday Morning Cartoons fragrance. And this is the nostalgic childhood cereal Fruit Loops fragrance. So on the Flaming Candle, it's now called it's called Fruity Rings. But it used to be called Fruit Loops. I'm assuming they had to change it maybe due to copyright reasons, even though there's probably some legalities with it. But this fragrance is so spot on with smelling like the cereal. The best part about doing markets was having people smell that candle and see their reaction. It was the best part about doing in-person markets. It just immediately, like their face lit up. A lot of people said it smelled like Fruity Pebbles, Fruit Loops, Trix, or lemon cake. Those are kind of the top 4 that I would get people saying. There was one person saying that it smelled like popcorn. I have no idea what they were smelling with that, because it doesn't smell like popcorn. It definitely smells like the Fruit Loops, Fruity Pebbles. I get Trix. They're all kind of blended together in that cereal family. But there's something about it that smells identical to the cereal, and actually better than it. I think a couple years ago, I got the actual cereal itself because I was doing a photo shoot with it. And I just remember saying, the candle smells so much better. The candle just really brings out more of that delicious kind of scent to it. But this fragrance has been one of our best sellers for the longest time. Another bestseller is our sugar cookies candle. There's something about a very classic sugar cookies candle that people still really love. And that is the Sugar Cookie Royale fragrance oil from the Flaming Candle. This is one of the best vanillas I have ever smelled. I know that it's not just straight vanilla, but it is so spot on with a vanilla cookie dough. I almost said flavor. No, I'm not eating it. I'm talking about food. A vanilla cookie dough scent. It is so spot on. It's so delicious smelling. Even me, somebody who has been making candles or in the candle business for so long, I've smelled so many fragrances before. And there's something about this scent, this vanilla dessert kind of scent, that we will never get rid of it. This is absolutely going to stay in stock all the time. And it is absolutely one of our best sellers. People love this scent. Another fragrance I really want to add in is Ghoulberry. So this is a wonderful fall fragrance specifically for Halloween time. And what I decided to do last year was do a limited edition release, and I blended Ghoulberry with pumpkin spice to bring out more of the spiciness to the fragrance. So like a fruity with some bakery spices, whatever it was, it just brought out the best fall scent. And I'm honestly considering bringing that back as just a fall fragrance that I bring onto the line instead of the pumpkin spice, because our pumpkin spice fragrance is the Flaming Candle's pumpkin chai, but I want to do something different this year. I want to do something different than pumpkin spice. So I may do something with pumpkin, but make it more fun. And I may do our limited edition scent that we did last year and maybe change it up just a little bit, but make that into our fall line. And the last honorable mention that I want to talk about is tobacco and bay leaf. This is one of my personal favorites. We call it citrus and tobacco. It is the perfect summer to fall transition scent. You get a little bit of that, citrus, that brightness of summer, but then the tobacco really kind of takes you into fall. I call it the perfect transition scent. I personally love this scent, and it's perfect for anybody that likes more of that masculine scent, but adds in that fruity brightness as well. So to me, it's a very uplifting scent, and I love it so much. And honestly, they have so many great fragrances. I was on there earlier today because I'm like, let me get some samples for fall because I'm really trying to get more added onto my fall collection. So the most exciting thing is that I'm now an affiliate with them, and they gave me a 10% off coupon code for you to be able to use. So at any point you can add or you can use my coupon code. It's just Memory Box in all caps, and this will get you 10% off of your order on the Flaming Candle. The only thing that's excluded is the wax, but everything else is fair game. So if you want to go check them out, I will have it listed down in the show notes and have a link down below in the pinned comment section below if you're watching on YouTube. So while you're shopping on the Flaming Candle and you're looking up all the categories and trying to figure out which fragrances you want to add to your candle line, there's 3 different things that I want you to think about as you are adding fragrances, because it's not just about what smells good. When I first was starting, I was thinking what smells good and then what can I create that's going to smell like my personal memories. I did have a little bit more of a structure behind why I was choosing the scents that I was choosing. But overall, it really was just about kind of the things that I liked and what I think smelled good. And that's kind of a big thing that a lot of makers fall into, especially when you're going through the testing phase and you really want to bring some fun into it. So you start ordering a bunch of different 1-ounce samples and you're trying to smell all these different scents, and before you know it, you have dozens and dozens and dozens of 1-ounce samples, and you're trying to figure out, okay, I don't even know which ones to choose. Which ones do I choose? And your default is thinking, well, which is going to sell the best? Let me look up reviews and see which one is going to sell the best. Oh, this person said that this is a bestseller. Maybe I should have it. And all these things start to spiral because you don't have an actual strategy when it comes to purchasing and choosing these fragrances. So today I'm going to give you that strategy. So here's the three things that you need to be thinking about when you are choosing fragrances for your candle business. The first one is, does it fit your brand? The second one is, how does it perform? Does it perform well? The third one is, what is your overall product strategy for this fragrance oil? So let's go ahead and break down all three of these pillars. The first one is, does this fit your brand? Does it make sense that this fragrance should be aligned with you and your business? Does it fit your overall world of your candle business? And the way that you are able to do that is if you know who your target market is, who your ideal customer is, you are choosing fragrances for that ideal customer. So for me, when I'm thinking about fragrances, that's why I'm kind of going back and forth with the whole Ghoulberry and, kind of spiciness added to it, because I'm thinking about my ideal customer and I'm thinking about how can I create something that my ideal customer really is going to like. So of course, my candle last year did really, really good. So I'm assuming that my ideal customer is going to like it. But again, I'm thinking strategically along those lines on what exactly is my ideal customer going to like. So it's important that you think about your overall branding, how this fragrance is going to fit into everything. Way back when I first started talking about what I would recommend for fragrances, and this still can be true. This still can be true and fit well with different brands, but I would just recommend that you choose 4 to 6 different fragrances and have them be in different scent categories. So have one in a bakery scent, a floral scent, a fruity scent, masculine, beachy, earthy, something like that. And you absolutely can do that. It gives more of a variety, more of a range. But if you have a very specific theme or niche or target demographic, and you are really going after something that would make it to where it would make more sense for you to have more florals, or it would make more sense for you to have more beachy and nature inspired scents. Go with that. Let your brand, let your target market guide you with your fragrance oil decisions. It's going to make things so much easier than you looking at 4 dozen 1-ounce samples on your table and saying, I don't know, which one do I like the best? Which one smells good? I don't really know which one that I want to choose. If you let your brand and your target market guide you, it's going to help you figure out and make those decisions for which fragrances to actually offer in your business. The second thing to think about is the performance of it. So there are some fragrances out there that are stronger than others, that perform better than others, and work better with different combinations of materials. So there are some fragrances out there that don't work as well with soy wax, and there are some fragrances that work really well with soy wax. So of course that goes into the testing process. Sometimes the fragrance oil out of the bottle is really strong, but it doesn't perform well in the candle. Sometimes it's really light and it does perform well in the candle. I can usually tell though, usually from my experience, smelling out of the bottle, if it's really hard for me to smell, it's usually going to be a slightly lighter cold and hot throw when I actually make it into a candle. So that is something to consider. Now, some of you may be looking for a more lighter and softer fragrance if that is your market. If you see where I'm going with that, that's a good way to think about it. Are you kind of going after, not so intense, strong fragrances? Are you going to be advertising your candles as being moderately scented, not to give you a headache, but still enough to be able to have a scent throw in the room? These are the things that you can think about. So as you are going through and choosing your fragrances, you can have all of these things in mind so that when you are going through the actual testing process, then you have it in your mind, okay, this scent is going to be a no, even though I like the way it smells, it's not strong enough, or it's too strong for my market that I'm trying to target. So these are all the things that you're going to be thinking about. Of course, when it comes to wick testing, that's a whole different process. Now, what I would recommend, I'm just going to add this in here. If you're in the testing process, I recommend to either test your candles with no fragrance or only choose one fragrance oil and test it throughout all of your candles. The reason behind that is because you don't want to do what I did and choose different fragrances for testing and have that be a variable that changes as well. You want to only change one variable at a time. So you want to keep everything the same and only choose one variable at a time. And then once you get a good combination of all of your materials, then that's when you can go through and start testing different fragrances for your actual candle line. And if you need to change up the wick or the wax blend in order to make it burn better. So for instance, if you're going from a lighter fragrance, a less dense fragrance like a lavender or something like that, and then going over to a really denser fragrance like an espresso, I always say espresso, or a vanilla, like a heavy vanilla scent, then you're going to need different wicks or change up your wax blend if you're working with a wax blend. So that's just something to be aware of, is that if you're going through the testing process, just keep in mind to get those little perfume sticks and use that to be able to smell the different scents and be able to see which one you want to use, or if you even want to go in and start blending the fragrances as well and blend two together to create something brand new. And then the third one is to just think about your overall product strategy with the scents that you're choosing. Are you looking to use this scent in a specific line, in a gift set, in a themed box of some kind? Are you looking for this fragrance to be an all year round scent or more seasonal? You have to think strategically when you are choosing these fragrances. And you also have to think, do I have something similar? I think about that all the time when I'm looking to add something new. That's kind of what I'm doing right now with my fall scents. What's going to be different? How can I change things up so that I'm not having a pumpkin chai, a pumpkin latte, a pumpkin, marshmallow vanilla cookie or whatever, like all these different ones that are basically a very similar scent. I want to still have variety. So when you are choosing these fragrances, just kind of look and see the overall view of your business. And do you have something similar? Is it going to kind of clash or kind of be too similar as something else? So that goes into the whole product strategy point of everything. You also want to look and see how close is the supplier to you? How much is shipping? How much is that going to cost? Your cost of goods with everything. Do they have it in stock? Are you going to need to order ahead of time because it's a fall fragrance and it may be out of stock in a month or two? That is a clue for you guys. So just those are the things to keep in mind and to consider when you are choosing your fragrances. I really hope today's episode helped you out. I know that fragrances can be such an overwhelming but yet exciting part of the candle making process. So I totally get how that is somewhere where you can feel stuck but overwhelmed and kind of analysis paralysis. There's so many options. So I hope that today's episode really helped you narrow everything down. And thank you so much again to The Flaming Candle for sponsoring today's video. And you guys, make sure you go over there and order whatever you are needing, try out some fragrance oils, and use my discount code MEMORYBOX for 10% off. And I will see you in the next one. Thank you so much for listening to today's episode of the Candle Business Podcast. I hope it encouraged you as you move forward in your own candle business journey. If you enjoyed today's episode, or if you've been loving the podcast, I would appreciate it so much if you could take just a few moments to give the show a rating and maybe even a written review so that it can help reach more aspiring business owners just like you. And always remember to spend every day working towards a life that your future self will be proud of.